Deliverance! Today I'm going to be reviewing the album Deliverance by Opeth. This is the group's 6th studio album. It came out right after Blackwater Park and right before Damnation, which we're going to talk about why that is. And there's also the second album, or third album in like that middle group of Opeth that many fans consider to be the best era of the group. I guess it would probably say that era started with Still Life, continued with Blackwater Park, led into Deliverance, then of course you get Damnation, Ghost Reveries, and Watershed, which many people say is the best era of the band. And this is right in the middle of that. And I mentioned it came out right before Damnation. This came out in 2002. Damnation came out in 2003. Now, originally, the group wanted to make a double album. Half an album where it's heavy as balls, Deliverance. The other half is soft, quiet music, which is Damnation. Eventually, they decided to split it up. I don't remember the reason why, but that's what happened. There's also the second album that Steven Wilson from the band Porcupine Tree. We talked about Fear of a Blank Planet a month ago or so, and he produced this album. And we're going to talk about some stuff he did that I absolutely adore on this record. Yeah, he produced this album. I believe he's done 4 Opeth albums, Blackwater Park, this one, Damnation, and I'm pretty sure he did Pale Communion from 2014. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say who's in the group at this point, and then we will discuss the music. What does it say? Opeth in 2002 had Michael Ockerfeldt on vocals and guitars, obviously Peter Lindgren on guitars, Martin Mendez on bass guitar, and Martin Lopez on the drums. Probably my favorite favorite drummer for the group. And then it also says appearing Steven Wilson with backing vocals, guitar, mellotron, courtesy of Porcupine Tree and Atlantic /Lava Records. And I thought it's I like seeing that Michael Ockerfeldt and Steven Wilson working together. They're a good duo. They did the Storm Corrosion project, which is worth listening to. Very unique album. You also had Michael Ockerfeldt appearing on the album Deadwing, which I would have grabbed Damnation when I talked about it a little bit ago, but that one's harder to get at the moment. But Deadwing, this Porcupine Tree album, Michael Ockerfeldt's featured on. And this was in 2005, so a couple years after Deliverance. But yeah, Steven Wilson did a great job producing this. Opeth did a great job writing the music. Let's talk about it. We have 6 tracks to get through, and my least favorite on the album is the closing track, track 6, By the Pain I See in Others. This track is about 13 minutes long, which on paper, you see a 13-minute long Opeth song, and I'm like, let's go. This is going to be great. Unfortunately for this song, I forget how long, but first 9 minutes or so are really, really good. And then it kind of just ends. The song just ends. There's a minute or two of silence. Or not silence, but background noise. Kind of just fading out. And then you get some interesting sounding vocals fading in and out at the end. Which is it's kind of like a hidden track, but not really, because there's not really a track there. It's just kind of vocals phasing in and out, and which sounds cool. It sounds atmospheric, but they just ended the song. It's like you kick the song off, you get some really great riffs. You got a really cool acoustic riff with some nasty vocals, cool vocal effects too. Eventually you get this really cool part that goes into 3, boom, 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 almost like a waltz. The like whatever instrument that is, keyboards of some sort. I'm guessing Steven Wilson did. Maybe it's the Mellotron. I don't think it is though. Um, did there? It's like there's a lot of good riffs, good vocals, good time changes, good moments in this song. Like the first 9 minutes are very, very good. But then it sounds like you're getting somewhere and the song just kind of ends. And I'm not a fan of that. I understand the appeal of a hidden track. I think 10 by Pearl Jam did it well because with that you have release, then it kind of fades out into silence and you get that, I forget what it's called, like Master and the Slave or whatever portion that cycles back to the beginning of the album with Once. That intro and Once, that's the end of the album on release. And I think that works because then it makes you feel like I've arrived somewhere. I've gotten here to circle back here. I hate it when bands put this on the final track and don't do anything with it. Like some examples besides Deliverance. Or let me rephrase that. They don't do anything. They don't take me anywhere that's worth sitting through the silence for. If you're going to make me wait for a minute plus of silence or just background noise, it better be worth it because I don't want to turn on a song and listen to silence. I want to hear music. I want to hear what you got to say. And so, yeah, some other examples. The Way of All Flesh by Gojira is probably one. I got really excited when I saw that song come up in my YouTube recommended, whatever, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever it was, I was listening to Gojira on YouTube. I saw, oh my goodness, a 17-minute Gojira song. This is going to be awesome. I listened to it. First 6.5 minutes, amazing. Heavy riffs, crunchy ass vocals. What you want from Gojira. Then they cut out, and it's just kind of background noise for like 10 minutes. And it's like, why am I listening to this? Chaos Sphere by Meshuggah. Same thing. So that one's kind of interesting because eventually it like plays the album backwards, like at 10 times speed. That's kind of interesting, but you don't have to sit there like the weird just like static haze for 10 minutes or whatever it is. I don't think it's worth it. Yeah. But the first like 9 minutes, first 8 minutes, 7, however long it is, I haven't timed it. The song is great up until that point. I think it's one of the few blunders in the Opeth catalog is just ending this song when you're setting up something and you don't take me somewhere. And that is a rare mistake Opeth makes, as we're about to talk about. Yeah, By the Pain I See in Others, really good for the first couple minutes, really groovy riffs, cool vocals. I really like the part where it goes into 3. Then they just end it, and it's a shame because we could have had a great outro, which this album has plenty of. So, number 5, I also have this is track 4, For Absent Friends. This is kind of the short acoustic interlude of the album, and it's not really acoustic, but it's soft. It's not distorted, I think is what I mean. Like, they did the same thing with Patterns in the Ivory on Blackwater Park, which I have the shirt on. I don't have a Deliverance shirt, otherwise I would have worn it, but I have a Blackwater Park. So it's the older brother of the album, so I figured it's alright to wear it. But, yeah, it's very pretty. It's very somber. It's melancholic. It's a nice transition, you know? The ending of the song right before it's really heavy. They cool things down. And then the opening of the next track is really heavy. It's a great break in the album. I love it. It's the only song on this album that's not over 10 minutes. And it's like 2.5. It's a great interlude, I think. Sure, Patterns in the Ivory I like more because it has prettier piano or whatever. This one doesn't really have piano, but I like that one more. But this one's still great. It serves the album. It complements everything else. Well, it's what I want. It's what I like from an interlude. So, number 5, I have For Absent Friends. Number 4 on the album is the opening track, Wrath. I don't know how they say it. I think it's Wrath. this is a very different way to kick off an album than the Leper Affinity, which opened Blackwater Park. And I keep comparing things to Blackwater Park, and the comparison is unavoidable in my opinion. Like, Blackwater Park comes out 2001. Deliverance, same lineup, same producer with Steven Wilson, very similar stylistically. They're very similar. Um, they're related. They're basically brother albums. They feel very connected. There's a comparison to be made, and Leper Affinity's got kind of a the second you press play, you're greeted by kind of a build up before you hit the song. Now with this one, you hit, but you get and it's like, all right, we mean business, and I love it. I love it. It's a great way to kick off this album. Really, really strong start. Like, yeah. I love it. It doesn't sound like it's in four because you have that, but you can just go. I don't think I'm singing it right, but I was counting it and it all lined up in four, but it's like, and it kind of sounds like it's almost in 5/8, but it doesn't line up, and you just get a nice four pattern, and yeah, it kicks. It's got a nice recoil. It punches you when you press. The second you press play, that's key. The second you press play, you get kicked, and I love it. There's a lot to love with this song. I mean, you have that really heavy part. Michael Ockerfeld's vocals on this album altogether, when he's doing death metal growls, it is really, really well done. Like, it's so gross sounding. It's also like, it's not like murky, nasty, just sounds gross, disgusting, bad sounding stuff like not Corpse Grinder, sorry. What's his name? Chris Barnes from Cannibal Corpse or 6 Feet Under. It's not like that where it just sounds bad. It sounds sick. It sounds brutal. It sounds, like this is what I want from death metal growls. And yeah, this is what I want from this style of music. And you get it. So yeah, you get that really cool at the beginning. Some other parts of this song I love is when it kind of goes into like a 6/8 or 12/8. I don't remember which one it is, but it goes into a compound meter. And then you get some more really sick vocals. And then there's this really cool part where there's this like thing that sounds like off in the distance, like, and over that like compound meter pattern. And it's just like, this is the climax of the song. This is the emotional release. This is the tension giving away. And that's something Opeth does really, really well. It's part of what I love about their music is a lot of their long, epic songs have this moment that, like, whatever, 10 minutes has brought me to here, 5 minutes has brought me to here, whatever, 8 minutes has brought me to this moment, and it pays off. And that's the moment for Wraith. That's the moment I've been waiting for. That's part of why that's kind of why I put By the Pain I See Others in last, because they cut you off before I can get that moment, before you give me what I want, before the drama's released. Like, that's what I'm looking for. And that song doesn't have it. But this song does, and it's great. Also, the transition into Deliverance, the next track, phenomenal. It just, the second you press play to the second the song is over, it transitions so nicely into the intro for Deliverance that, it's like 11 minutes went by and I didn't even notice. Amazing riff, again, amazing riffs. I don't think that's exactly right, but it goes into like the compound meter. If you listen to the song, you'll hear it. You got that background, like, it's like a light in a tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel. It's like a shooting, not really a shooting star, but like, this is a weird analogy, but it's like you're in let's say like an enchanted forest, and there's like a little fairy, like glowing in the distance. Like, I don't know how that plays out, but that's kind of what I'm envisioning. And it gives you that moment of release that there's a lot of tension, the rhythmic. And, Opeth loved diminished chords. I've seen the video of Michael Ackerfeld playing guitar, and he's like, I don't know what chord this is, but it sounds cool, and he's playing a diminished chord. And that's also really interesting. Side note, that Michael Ackerfeld writes these really long, epic songs, but he doesn't. I think he intuitively understands music theory, but he doesn't know, like, what music theorists call things. And that's okay. You don't need to know that this is an augment, this is an Italian sixth chord or whatever. You don't need to know that. But what he has really good ears, and he's really good at piecing together these long, epic songs. And I find that really interesting because I I like to think I understand theory at least on a okay level. Like, I got through theory 1 through 4 in music school. Like, I have an understanding of it. But it's so interesting to me that Michael Lagerfeld, someone who's way better at music than I am, hasn't received this training, and yet he still is able to craft these really great songs that um have this release. And I'm not saying, I understand most male musicians don't have classical training at all, and I'm not trying to say I'm better than them all. I'm not. They're the ones who's famous. I'll put it that way. I just think it's so interesting that, like, I have taken theory courses. I have at least a basic understanding of it, and I couldn't write stuff like Opeth, but you have someone who has such a good ear for music and is able to craft these really great tales musically. Like, I think it's brilliant. I think it's amazing. I love that he is confident in his ear, and if he hears something he likes, he'll write it. Like, I have so much respect for that, because, like, this is a whole different discussion, but I'll just say I think it's amazing what Michael Ockerfeldt can write without knowing what a diminished chord is. Like, that's just so cool to me that like, a diminished chord is just stacking minor thirds on top of each other, and he's just playing a shape on a guitar. And then we could dive into a whole guitar theory thing discussion, if maybe in a future video, we'll see. But I think he understands music theory, but not from like a formal classical perspective. Like, he's kind of, what I'm gathering from that interview is he's kind of pieced together his own theory, and that's what I love. Like, music theory is just that. It's a theory. It's a way of explaining how notes interact with each other. It's a way of explaining why we like a certain sound. And I think it's brilliant that Michael Lagerfeld has kind of devised his own theory. I think it's amazing. I honestly do that. Like, he's able to do that. And I'm not saying one side is right. I love understanding theory. I love taking theory courses. And I think it's amazing that there's musicians out there who don't need, well, not that I necessarily need that, but I have a great appreciation for it. I think it's amazing that there's musicians out there who are far more successful than I will ever be, who don't have that understanding and don't need it. I think it's amazing. I think that's part of what makes music so amazing, is you don't need to you don't need to go to school to be great at it. You can pick it up, and if you have a good ear, you can be good at it. You can practice ear training, you can practice guitar, and you can just develop a sound that you like. And I think that's what Michael Ackerfeld did, and I think it's brilliant. I honestly love it so much that he was able to do that without reading books about theory or whatever, taking classes. So yeah, I think, side note, I guess bottom line, there's so many ways of understanding music that don't. I just love that there's so many different ways to explain music, even if it's not like a conventional 1-4-5, not a convention, or sorry, that's a bad example. Like, conventional, like, theory 1, key signatures and time signatures and whatever. Like, I love that people can develop their own understanding of what's happening. I think it's brilliant. I think Michael Ockerfeld's brilliant. But yeah, Wraith, the way it ends and transitions into Deliverance, it has that moment of release. It's amazing. I've been yapping too long about this song. Let's move on to number 3. And there's kind of a divide in this album. The 3 songs we just talked about are really, really amazing, except for that By the Pain I See in Their Ends. Other than that, it's amazing. Wraith's amazing. I love For Absent Friends is amazing. But the next 3 songs are like 3 of the best songs Opeth have ever written. And that says a lot because I think they're one of the greatest bands of all time. If you look at the consistency in their catalog, they were able to put out 14 albums so far. All of them are good. You can't grab an album off the shelf and it'll be bad with Opeth. Like, no matter what album, it's good. And they were able to change their sound. They were able to develop. Each album has its own character, has its own identity. And this one is it's like the angstier younger brother to Blackwater Park. Blackwater Park is so refined and like, how do I put this? Like, it makes you feel like you're sitting on the side of a lake when it's foggy, all by your own, looking out across the lake and you can't see anything but fog. This album's like angsty, or it's angrier. I don't know how to describe the mood for this one per se, but it's like an angstier younger sibling to Blackwater Park. Anyways, number 3 on the album, I have A Master's Apprentice, track 5. This one's about 10 minutes and 40 seconds long, I'm pretty sure. And oh boy, let me tell you, this song kicks to start. Like, we were just talking about Wraith, how it slaps it the second you press play. The second you press play, you might get the heaviest Opeth riff with this song, though. It's so heavy. That half step from this is all in standard tuning, by the way. The F F E and then the way his vocals fit in with that riff is so punishing. Like, we can talk about how I think in many styles of music, such as pop or country or rap, the vocals become the highlight of the song, and the lyrics. But that's a whole different discussion. I don't want to have a lyrical discussion right now. But I think with those kinds of songs, the vocals become the centerpiece. With this, the vocals join the rest of the ensemble and just become part of the music. It isn't like when the vocals come into comes in, it just adds to the riff that's already punching. It's just like, oh yes, this is what I want. And I love that. I love that the vocals don't become what you listen to the song for. I love that the vocals become part of the music. Because that's what I love. I love listening to music, not words. I will not go any further into the lyric discussion now. I want to make an own video on that once I develop my thoughts further on lyrics. But, yeah, with this one, this is a really, really good song. Like, it kind of starts out, like, the first half or so is really gritty, really grindy, really, really heavy. Some of the heaviest music we've ever gotten from Opeth. And it's incredible. But eventually, again, tension and release. This first half of the song builds up a lot of tension. How do they release it? They kind of... There's a moment where you get a clean vocals, and it kind of just feels like it's soaring over the rest of the music. And then the tension releases, and all the distortion kicks away. Beautiful guitar melodies kick in. Beautiful arrangements, like... The arrangement is beautiful, and the tension goes away, and it feels like you're floating. You just fell out of, like, this battlefield, and now you're floating. Like, it's amazing. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you have that moment of release where it's like, you've brought me here. I'm now in a different state emotionally than when I pressed play. I've been taken on a journey. And I think that's really why Opeth is considered prog. Like, I don't think any band who writes 10-minute songs could be considered prog. Like, Metallica's 10-minute songs, I wouldn't call them prog. But the reason is, I, I'm taking a lot of this ideology from Steven Wilson himself, from his show on SiriusXM called Intrigue, where he plays a lot of progressive music. And his point he talks about a lot in the show is a key element to a progressive song is it takes you on a journey. And that's what a Master's Apprentice does. And I really like that definition or that characteristic of prog because so often I'll see people online talk about how prog bands end up falling into a category where they're just trying to copy each other, like Meshuggah specifically. And then we get into that argument of, does a band who's progressive have to be pushing the boundaries as far as they can go and it progress the genre, I guess, which is a characteristic I think we have to take into consideration calling it prog. But I think with progressive music, progressive rock and metal, like, for a band really to be considered prog, I think it has to embody the sound. And, well, not even that. I'm trying to think here. Like, I think ultimately I like Steven Wilson's idea that it has to take you on a journey. I have to feel like I've gone somewhere with the music, not just lyrically, not the lyrics bringing the emotional journey. It's the music. It's the music that takes you on this whirlwind of emotions and sounds and ideas. And I think Opeth does that really well. Because, like, if we think about what are stereotypical characteristics of prog, you think of Dream Theater, like really, really technical, really, really virtuosic, really, really dense, really just show offy, and all those characteristics work really well for Dream Theater. They're another one of my favorite bands. But that's the idea we get with prog, and we turn on Opeth, and their music's complicated. You listen to it, there's some stuff in there, but you don't have like a John Petrucci shredding at 300 beats a minute. I don't know if you ever hit that fast. I know he's hit 218 though, with 16th notes. And you don't have that with Opeth. And that makes you think, like, if we're not pushing the limits technically, what are we doing? Well, I think Opeth kind of pushes the limits emotionally. And they write really long songs that take you on a journey. And I think that's ultimately what makes Opeth prog. Like, they're taking you on a journey. I mean, yes, they have their own sound. I think you can't make a song that sounds like Opeth without sounding like you're copying Opeth. That would be really challenging to do. I challenge you to do it. But when it comes to progressive music, like, I think that ultimately is why I love this music so much, is because it takes me on a journey. It's not because so and so pushed the ground like so far. Like, yes, that is definitely an element, but I like, and that's what all the greats did for sure. But I just think, like, there's bands that aren't huge that I enjoy. Like, I was listening to, I forget who it was called the other day. I think the album was called Whoa, and there was like a clarinet, and I'm like, this is awesome. This has brought me somewhere new because there's a clarinet in a metal song, and I play clarinet, and I thought that was really cool. And like, this band isn't huge. Nothing I was hearing was really like the most groundbreaking thing ever, but it brought me somewhere with the clarinet, and that's what I love about prog. Like, it brought me somewhere. I mean, the clarinet metal is definitely unique. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, you can still have a sound that sounds similar to other bands and still be progressive because you're bringing me on a journey, and I think that's the most important element of prog. And that is what Master's Apprentice does. You have that crunchy riff, And then eventually at the end, you have that part where the or the heavy vocals come back. And he's got some cool effects on there, and then the song kind of goes out with a bang. And yeah, again, that's really why I love the song. Is just the journey from that really grindy 4 or 5 minutes, and it's so smooth. The way they transition from section to section is so great, and you have that like clean voice that kind of sounds suspended over the rest of the music, and then it releases the tension. And that's what I love about the song. I'll move on now. I've been talking about this one for a while. Number 2, I have track 3. Why can't I think of what it's called? A Fair Judgment, right? I was just talking about how I've been trying to avoid talking about form when discussing Opeth, because a lot of their songs are through composed, which means you don't really have repeating sections. There's not an A, B, C, D. Well, I guess you could call it that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. But it's not really form. It's through composed. And so you get new music throughout the duration of the piece. You don't really return to a passage. A Fair Judgment has a clear A section, B section, A section. And I think this just adds to the band's credibility because they're doing form well. It isn't just they just were banked on through composing. They can write form. I think this proves that. This is a gorgeous song. This is kind of the less intense epic on the album. It's 10 minutes long. It opens up with these kind of distant sounding pianos, and then yeah, lyrically I've never thought about what the lyrics mean. I think about the vocal melodies. I'm trying to grab the slip. Right, Deliverance, Fair Judgment. Losing sleep in too deep. Fading out. And then it's kind of, it's quiet, it's soft, it's beautiful. And then and the guitars kick in and whatnot kicks in, and you kind of get that, and then things you kind of sit around in this A section with that kind of balance, that yin and yang of like the soft stuff, but it's still like as exposed, like it sounds muffled almost, versus like when the guitars kick in to counter that. And then you hit the B section, which is the most beautiful passage in the song, in my opinion. And you get beautiful acoustic guitars, and then you get the vocal melodies great. They're like, leave it be, it was meant for me. And then whatever. I just love the vocal melodies at that part. I'm not going to try and sing it. That would be a bad idea, but I love the vocal melodies at that part, that B passage. And eventually you get to the best Opeth guitar solo, in my opinion. Yeah. There's 2 parts. The first part is Michael Ockerfeldt doing lead. The second part is Peter Lindgren doing lead. And I really like this solo because it has an emotional climax. The part where Peter Lindgren goes like, at the end, you hear it. It's like the highlight of the solo. It's pretty obvious. I don't want to sing it. I just don't want to. The melody in the solo is great too. And then Peter Lindgren. I guess I will sing it. That's the climax. And it's just beautiful. It's a solo that brings me somewhere. I love that. It's an amazing B section. You know, we're just getting. What makes it so effective? Sorry, my brain is spinning and I just don't know what a lot of thoughts going through my head. But is right before the B section, the A section was hitting up. There was more the dynamic. We were more in a loud forte, and then it drops to like piano, and it just feel again contrast, tension and release. The tension's released, and you get this beautiful melody. And I want to read the lyrics here. This is one of the moments where I think the lyrics are cool. And yeah. Leave it be, it was meant for me. Soul sacrifice, forgot the advice. Lost, the other part I really love. Lost track of time in a flurry of smoke. Waiting anxiety for a fair judgment. As he deserved. But I love, there's also some really great vocal harmonies. I think from Steven Wilson, probably. In the Leave It Be, or no, Lost Track of Time, there's some beautiful vocal harmonies there. Listen to those next time you hear this song. Yeah, and then after the solo, it transitions right back into the A section, where you get that losing sleep, in too deep, whatever, and then you get again one of the heaviest riffs Opeth have written. I don't think it's as heavy. I'll say this. I think Master's Apprentice is the heaviest. I think this is one of the heaviest. The heaviest riff Opeth done. I think one of. I think it was the heaviest. Then you get at the end of this song, and it's a really great. I can't sing it. But it's really heavy, and it just goes, and it takes the song to an end, and it's such a heavy way to close the track that leads so nicely into the interlude. Why can't I think of what it's called? For Absent Friends. But yeah. Oh yeah, I want to highlight, they say the line for Absent Friends in Master's Apprentice, but yeah, I mean, clear A section, B section, A section, A prime. It's a beautiful song. Yeah. That leaves one. And this song, the title track, Deliverance, track 2, is considered by many to be Opeth's best song. And oh boy, it is easily top 5, top 3 material for this group. Maybe even number 1. It changes. But oh my goodness, 13 minutes long, and the song is actually 13 minutes long. Press play, second it ends, boom, no wasted time at all. And second you press play, you get butter 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 da 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 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, and this 1 2 the 7/8 idea, the 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, is an idea that reoccurs throughout the song. It's kind of like, it's like a theme that comes back. It's not really a section. It's not really an A section, but it's like a theme. It's a motive that comes back throughout the piece, and that's great. And eventually you get it where it's like boom, 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 boom. An amazing riff. I love the way the vocals come in over that riff. It's amazing. And then you cut to and they over another 7/8 pattern. It's like boom, 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 boom. Can you hear that in the background? And then you get the vocal melody gets played in the guitar, high up on the neck. It's clean, it's beautiful. And then they kind of cycle through this for a while, a couple times, I think 2 or 3 times. And it changes. Well, I guess the way they transition is a dun 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 dun. and they do that again, but then eventually you get a part that's like da 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 da. You've had this whole odd metered sound for a lot of this piece, even in the part that's in 4/4, the that's in 4/4, but it doesn't really sound that straight. It's syncopated. And this part, it sounds like it's in 4/4, and I think that's deliberate. It adds contrast. Um it adds contrast. It adds, we're going somewhere, and yeah, it's great. Eventually, there's a great solo from Peter Lindgren in the first part. Those first couple of trade offs. Then eventually, there's a great solo from Michael Ockerfeldt, and then after a while, it gets to 9 minutes in. You have what thinks will be the emotional climax of the piece. I don't think it is, though. It's kind of the part where he says deliverance. 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 And then you get this outro. An amazing outro. The best outro of all time. Am I ready to talk about the outro? I think so. The first 9 minutes is like Opeth at its best. What you expect from the group. The trade-off between the quiet parts, the heavy parts. Amazing riffs, amazing vocals, beautiful melodies. What you want from Opeth. 9 minutes in, you get. And the cymbals come in. And then you get the ostinato. The. I'm sorry, I rushed there. Ba-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, brrrrum, bum, ba-da-bum, 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 bum, ba-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. And this riff reoccurs 4 times. They repeat it multiple times, but it reoccurs 4 times. And in between each time, you get kind of a it calms down. It lines up. And what makes this so brilliant is there's like 4 minutes of song that trades between these sections, but it doesn't get boring. It's not repetitive. I want to talk about it. Repetition in music sometimes bothers me. When we repeat choruses, it bothers me. Repeat choruses too many times. And repetition can bother me because it feels like we're listening to the same thing. Tell me more. Give me something different. An ostinato is a situation where I think repetition can work. And this is executed flawlessly. If you don't know what an ostinato is, basically it's a repeated rhythmic, or I guess it could be melodic idea that one instrument, or I guess in this case bass, guitars take it, which leaves drums out. But you get this repeated idea that another member of the group can build off of. And that's what the drums do. The first time you listen to it, there's like more of a hi-hat pattern. More straight eighth notes. The second time it comes around, he turns over to like a crash cymbal, splash cymbal or something. And he puts it on an offbeat or something. It's this whole passage in 4/4, but it's damn near impossible to count. I don't know how to count it. I just know it's in 4/4 because I saw an interview where Michael Ockerfeldt was talking how it's their Meshuggah, where it's actually in 4/4, but it doesn't sound like it. He understands time signatures. I know Michael Ockerfeldt does that. If he doesn't know chords, or if he has more of a set theory understanding of chords, where it's like every major chord is a 0-4-7, I can just move that shape around the neck, a guitarist understanding. That's cool. It's what he does. It's the cool way of explaining it. But He understands time signatures very well. And yeah, the second time you get that splash cymbal, you go back to that calmer section. The third time, first half, they alternate. Hi-hats, splash. It ends. This whole time, or during every reoccurrence of that, you have the idea in the background. That doesn't stop until the last statement of this, where it drops, and it's just drums and guitar bass without that background guitar. And it's brilliant. It opens up space. It makes you feel, it gives you a moment to breath, because it's very dense. You have all of that going on with the drums changing over that ostinato with the backgrounds. There's a lot to process. And then it cuts out. And then Steven Wilson provides the emotional release, the emotional tension, the emotional climax of this 13-minute long song. This is the moment I was talking about way back 46 minutes ago. I talked too much. Not sorry. That we'll talk about things Steven Wilson added. This is it. When the background guitars cut out, there's like 3 or 4 statements of a piano. And it's so well done, because he makes it so the piano just slides into the mix. And he's just holding out a chord. It's just like he plays the chord and he like plays it backwards. Like, how do I explain this? When you record a piano, like you play it, and the first thing that you hear is like the chords being plucked, or the hammer's hitting the strings, like the boom, and then that part where it holds out. He plays the part where it holds out first. He reversed it. So he brings that into the mix slowly, and then eventually the chords hit. And it's just like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been waiting for 13 minutes. This is the tension I needed. He didn't give you the tension when he says deliverance. He didn't release the tension there. Instead, he built more tension by going back by having this outro. And he releases the tension there with the piano that gets restated a couple times. And each time it's just like, oh, this is what I've been needing. This is what I need for this song to be great. Like, it's so good. And then the final time they play the and the song ends. And then you get that soft intro from A Fair Judgment. And it's just like, oh my goodness, dude. This is how you write an epic. This is how you bring me somewhere emotionally. And the piano just is like, it's so perfect. It provides so much release for this song. Like, honestly, might be the best Opeth song. It's very much a contender, because the first 9 minutes is like some of the best music Opeth ever written. Like, I kind of glossed over a lot of it, but it's amazing. But the highlight of the song is the outro. It's the greatest outro, period. I just think it's the best outro of all time. Probably any genre. Best outro. Like, that piano is so subtle, but it provides such a beautiful emotional release. And that's what I'm looking for. That's why I love Opeth so much, is their songs bring me somewhere. 13 minutes of music brought me to this, and it's so worth it. It isn't just like I played 13 minutes of mediocre music to get me to an okay finish. No. It's 13 minutes of fucking incredible music releasing with the piano, with like, it's just done so well. It's done so well. I don't know what else to say. It's the greatest outro of all time. The piano is so subtle, but it's such a great detail that Steven Wilson added that just all underneath that ostinato. And it's just like, that's how you do repetition. You repeat something to build on you build, or you repeat the ostinato to let the rest of the band build, and it's executed flawlessly. It's amazing. this album's a 9 out of 10, easily. If By the Pain I See and Others didn't just end, it would have been a 10 out of 10 album. Easily a 10 out of 10. The first, or whatever, 40 minutes, probably 50, I'll just say first 55 minutes of this album. It's an hour and a minute long. Probably 56, 57 minutes of the album. Incredible until it just ends, and then, yeah, whatever. But absolute, I have to dock it at one point because of that. But this album is so freaking good. You need to go listen to it. It doesn't feel like an hour went by when you turn it on. It flies right by. It's incredible. 9 out of 10. Yeah, Opeth's Deliverance is phenomenal. One of the best metal albums, I would say. And that's not even crazy. Like, there's a lot of Opeth albums you could say one of the best metal albums. They're just that good. They're in like the highest caliber of quality output. 14 albums. Lowest ones maybe a B plus. Like, they're all just so good. Like, oh, incredible group. And this is one of their best. Top 5 Opeth album for sure. I won't say where so I don't spoil the rankings when I get around to doing them. But yeah, I think coming up on the channel, I think next album I'm going to review is Train of Thought by Dream Theater. We mentioned them earlier. I want to talk about them. Train of Thought's where I'm going to go because it has an album cover that's kind of similar to this, like dark gray, black, lots of that action going on. And it's not really related whatsoever. It came out a year after, but there's not really a relation whatsoever. It's just a color coincidence that I want to talk about it. After that, I think I'm going to do The Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera, and then Obscured by Clouds by Pink Floyd. After that, I have to decide. Eventually, coming up, I want to do a best album closers video at some point. I still need to figure out what all the songs I want to include. I have ideas, but I need to figure it out. But yeah, keep an eye out for Train of Thought, then The Great Southern Trendkill, Obscured by Clouds. Thank you for watching if you got this far. I understand I talk a lot. I hope you got something from this. I hope you can tell me, I hope you found this entertaining. I hope it wasn't a waste of time. Even if it was, thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking the time out of your life to listen to me talk about music, because I love talking about music. And that's why I started this channel, was to talk about music. And with that, I want to hear your thoughts on the album Deliverance. Tell me in the comments. Say I got wrong. Say whatever. Master of Apprentice is the best song. By the Pain You See and Others is actually incredible, and I was too harsh on it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you dislike. Tell me what you agree with me. Tell me what you disagree. I want to know what you think about this album. I think there's a lot to be said about it. There's 8 billion perspectives in the world. I want to hear yours on this album. And with that, I'll see you when I review Train of Thought. Thank you.